What's up guys, it's Eric from Rare Candy and welcome back to another deck and battle here on PTCGO. And today we're actually going to be revisiting kind of an older archetype. That's going to be Trevenant BREAK. So this is a deck that's been around for many years now at this point and even still sees some play in the expanded format currently, but it actually gains a pretty important new card that it can make use of in the new set Forbidden Light. So let's take a look at the archetype and see what makes it tick. So if you guys are unfamiliar with Trevenant, it is the one back from XY, has the ability Forest's Curse. As long as this Pokemon is your active, your opponent can't play any item cards from his or her hand. So that is what the entire deck is really based around. It's getting out this Trevenant as quick as possible and just locking your opponent's item cards. So Trevenant also does have an attack, Tree Slam, for a Psychic and 2 colors to 60, then 20 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So we do find ourselves using this attack sometimes, but most of the time we prefer the attack that is on the break. But just important to note, and one thing that is also worth pointing out is that Trevenant is weak to Dark, which is kind of unfortunate since Zoroark GX has been so dominant in the expanded metagame, but we do have some ways to try to deal with that. But I just want to point that out real quick. Trevenant BREAK, though, this is going to be the, I guess, star of the show as far as attacking goes. Has this attack Silent Fear for a Psychic and colorless, does 3 damage. I'm sorry, you place 3 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. So Trevenant BREAK, it gains a kind of a better attack since we have Dimension Valley to reduce the attack cost. It also buffs your Trevenants up to 160 HP as well. So just makes your Trevenants live a little bit longer and you gain a better attack. So basically we're just trying to slow down the game thanks to this ability and then just kind of spread our way to victory using Silent Fear and of course sometimes a Tree Slam as well. But we are still playing a couple of other Pokemon in the deck. Of course, 2 copies of Tapu Lele for that Wonder Tag ability. We are also playing Psychic Energy, so we can make use of Tapu Cure GX if we need to. We don't actually have a GX attack we can use with this deck, so just something to keep in mind as well. And the only other Pokemon we're playing is 1 copy of Espeon EX. So we're playing it for this attack, Miraculous Shine. For a single colorless energy, you get to de-evolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon, put the highest stage back into their hand. So if we have a Dimension Valley in play, we can actually use this attack for just 0 energy, which is really nice. So Espeon EX is going to help us out against those Zoroark decks, or basically any evolution deck in general, but specifically this is going to be kind of our out against Zoroark decks. If we use Silent Fear twice, after that, we can just use Miraculous Shine and de-evolve all of our opponent's Zoroark GXs and just kind of clear the field and, maybe kind of sweep them after that. So that's kind of our big tech for those evolution decks. And that's going to be it for the Pokemon line, and that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but one reason we're actually playing so few Pokemon is so we can increase our odds of starting with Phantump. If you notice, we actually have 7 basics, 4 of which are Phantump, so if you start adding any more than that, you're decreasing your odds of starting with your Phantumps, which is really important if you want to get that turn 1 item lock. So going on to the rest of the deck, let's take a look at the supporters. We do actually have Cynthia in the mix now, which I'm actually really happy about. I've never been a fan of Sycamore and Trevenant. I've played this deck, at various points throughout its, time being in the game. I've just not enjoyed Sycamore, but now that we actually have Cynthia in the mix from Ultra Prism, I really do like this deck a little bit better now. There's, you don't have to discard your resources quite as much, but you'll notice we're basically exclusively playing Shuffle Draw supporters, 3N, 3 Cynthia, and 1 Colors as well. So, like I said, opting for Shuffle Draw supporters just so we don't have to discard our resources with Sycamore. We're also playing 2 copies of Wally, definitely a pretty integral part of the deck. Get search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon. So that means we can immediately use this Wally to evolve our Phantoms into Trevenant and get that turn 1 item lock as quick as possible. So really, really important part of the deck. Sometimes just getting that turn 1 item lock thanks to Wally is so oppressive on its own that you can just kind of sweep your opponent because they might be reliant on playing an Ultra Ball to get a Lele, to get a supporter for their actual turn. Just think of how many decks go for that turn 1 Ultra Ball for Lele type of combo. So Wally just so crucial for this deck to function. And then we're also playing just 1 copy of Team Flare Grunt. So discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So a lot of these Trevenant decks recently have been playing 4 Enhanced Tamer. We are actually playing 3 in this list, but I opted to cut 1 just for a Flare Grunt, just to give us the flexibility of having one that we can versus Seeker for and reuse over and over. And also, it gives us some flexibility to discard basic energies as well, whereas Enhanced Hammer is limited to just special energies. But if you guys don't really care for Flare Gun and you just prefer the 4th Enhanced Hammer, I think that's also fine too. Like I said, just trying to experiment with this and try this one out. So for versus Seeker, just to reuse all of those supporters. You might notice we have 3 Ultra Ball on this list. That might look a little weird since most decks typically play 4, but the reason we're playing only 3 is because we have Mysterious Treasure from Forbidden Light. That's going to be the huge new card that Trevenant is going to gain. So we are playing 4 copies of Mysterious Treasure in addition to Ultra Ball, and so it's a new item card from Forbidden Light. You discard a card from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a Psychic or Dragon Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand. So if you notice, our entire Pokemon line is exclusively Psychic type, which means we have a better version of Ultra Ball that we can make use of. Unlike other decks too, there's not really a whole lot of resources that we really want to discard in this Trevenant deck, so being able to discard one less card really goes a long way a lot of the time. And I'm actually really stoked on this card for another reason too, is because we basically no longer have to run Jirachi EX. Because previously, Trevenant decks of the past have run a split of Ultra Ball and Level Ball, and run a split of Tapu Lele and Jirachi GX, because Jirachi is searchable by Level Ball, whereas Tapu Lele is not. So now that we have Mysterious Treasure, we can actually cut Level Ball entirely and Jirachi EX and play exclusively Psychic types, which is huge because, Jirachi only has 90 hit points, whereas Tapu Lele has 170. And Mysterious Treasure is better than Ultra Ball at searching out the rest of the things in our deck. So just a huge new card that Trevenant gains. Seems very simple, but I think it definitely makes this archetype a bit better. And so one thing that's also great is we play 3 Ultra Ball and 4 Mysterious Treasures. So we have 7 outs to Tapu Lele on the first turn to grab that first turn Wally. So we have 2 Wally, 2 Tapu Lele, 7 search cards. So what is that? 11 outs. We play a computer search as well. So we have 12 outs to the turn 1 Wally thanks to Mysterious Treasure. Huge new card that this deck gains. So we're playing 1 copy of Super Rod just for a little bit of recovery to get some energy or Pokemon back into our deck. Playing 1 copy of Field Blower to discard tools or stadium cards. So this is going to be mainly for like those Garbodor variants if they manage to get down a Float Stone before we get the item lock out. That can be kind of bad for us. So against those types of decks, we definitely want to be able to discard Garbodor's tool cards. That way we can have access to our abilities. Also too, sometimes you don't get the turn 1 item lock just every once in a while, and your opponent is able to get down a Float Stone or a Choice Band or a Fighting Fury Belt or whatever it is. And so just being able to Field Blower any of those tool cards is definitely going to be a good asset to have. Like I mentioned earlier, 3 copies of Enhanced Hammer discard a special energy from your opponent's Pokemon, so definitely going to be helpful against those Zoroark decks, which normally have, can really easily deal with our Trevenants. Us playing, like I said, 1 copy of Computer Search. That is going to be our ace spec of the deck. Discard 2 cards from your hand, search your deck for any card. So definitely prefer this over Dowsing Machine in this deck because we want to really make sure we get that turn 1 item lock as soon as possible. Also playing 2 copies of Counter Catcher. You can only play this card if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, but then you get to switch your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active, which is fantastic. So one thing that is important to note about Trevenant is that you are kind of a spread deck and you take prizes very, very slowly. So more than likely you are going to be the one who is behind on prizes until about the end of the game, or at least midway through the game. So Counter Catcher is great because it doesn't take up your supporter for turn like Lysander or Guzma would. So you can keep playing other supporters while still playing Counter Catcher. One thing I do want to point out though, this list has no copies of Guzma or Lysander, and that's actually one thing I wouldn't mind finding space for is 1 copy of Guzma. In this list there have been a few scenarios where I think I would have preferred a Guzma in here, but the 2 Counter Catcher is definitely super good. Definitely try it out if you have not already done so. And then we also are playing 4 copies of Dimension Value. Another key component of the deck, like I mentioned, reduces the attack cost of Psychic Pokemon by 1 colorless, which is really important because that lets us use Silent Fear for 1 Psychic energy. Also lets us use Ascension on Phantump, which we didn't even mention, for just 0 energy to evolve right into Trevenant if we go second. Also, we can use this to attack with Miraculous Shine for 0 energy as well. So just a key component of the deck. And then to round out the trainer cards, we have 4 copies of Rescue Scarf. So it's a tool card if the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack. you put that Pokemon back into your hand and discard all other cards attached to it. So even though we do have to discard our energy, we do still get our entire Trevenant line back into our hand. So it's going to just allow us to keep recycling our Trevenants throughout the course of a game. And then the last cards of the list is just going to be some energy. We have, of course, 5 Psychic Energy, but then more importantly, we have 4 Mystery Energy. So it's a special energy, can only be attached to Psychic Pokemon, and their retreat cost is 2 less, in addition to providing Psychic Energy, of course. And another reason I absolutely love Mysterious Treasure is because, like I said, we can cut Jirachi out of the list, and we can just max out our Mystery Energy safely and just provide all of our Pokemon a little bit more mobility, since Trevenant has kind of a clunky 3 retreat cost. Phantump even has a retreat cost of 2, so it just helps us make sure we have some mobility on our Pokemon, and we can freely retreat whenever we want to. So yeah, guys, that is going to be the list we're going to be trying out. Really excited to try out Trevenant. I really think Mysterious Treasure does breathe a little bit of new life into this archetype, so really excited to see how it might fare once this set is legal for play. But anyways, guys, let's head over to the battle portion of the video, and we'll show you how this deck looks in action. Alright guys, so we have ourselves a game here, and our opponent's going to call the coin flip, and we win! So that is definitely what we like to see here. That way we can get that turn 1 item lock going as quick as possible. But unfortunately we do have to start with Tapu Lele, not our ideal starter. Hopefully we get a good top deck. Okay, that's actually a great top deck. And okay, so what we can do here is we can Mysterious Treasure. Unfortunately, we probably have to get rid of a couple of pretty good cards here. We have to get rid of a Trevenant there, which is unfortunate because we only have 1 Trevenant left in deck, which is not ideal. But luckily we do have Super Odd, and we have a bunch of Rescue Scarves, so hopefully that will carry us until we can get the rest out of our prizes. But here, going to get rid of Trevenant Break and Enhanced Hammer yet again. Cards I really just don't want to get rid of, but I think getting the turn 1 item lock is too good of an opportunity to pass on. So what we can do here is grab Lele with this Ultra Ball, grab ourselves a Wally, grab that Trevenant, and then we can play down the Mystery Energy on this Tapu Lele and retreat into our Trevenant. Now unfortunately we don't have an energy on our Trevenant, but next turn if we manage to find ourselves a break and an energy in Dimension Valley, we'll be good to go. And our opponent has a Hex Maniac, so unfortunately all that hard work was kind of for nothing. If I would have known that, I probably wouldn't have committed all of those resources to getting the turn 1 Trevenant. And it looks like our opponent's going for some sort of Latios EX Donk deck. We've seen some people play with these and expand it before, but basically they're just trying to do a ton of damage on turn 1 with Fast Raid. For a Psychic Energy, they do 40 damage and they can attack on the first turn. So they play Plus Power and probably Professor Kukui, stuff like that, I would imagine. And here we actually draw a Rescue Stretch, a really good card to get. And unfortunately, we have to play the end here. Our opponent had a 1-card hand. They benched that Shaman underneath Hex Maniac. But here we do get Enhanced Hammer. So actually in kind of a decent spot. Even if this Trevenant goes down, I don't really feel too bad about it. Well, luckily, we can still take another hit before... Oh, well. Never mind, I guess we can't survive a hit. So our opponent has Kukui, so they can knock out this Trevenant, but luckily it does go right back into our hand. So what do we do? Okay, so we have Versiger. We could grab an N. We could play Wally, but there's no Trevenants left in deck right now. So what I might actually think about doing is just kind of debating, because we can Flare Grunt here, and then just manually evolve into Trevenant next turn. So we could do that. Yeah, let's go for that. I like that. So there are 2 energy down so far. And big question is, do we put down a Rescue Stretcher? But I think I'm just gonna say no this one time. So our opponent has a Verbank City Gym, and they're gonna play Super Scoop Up, hitting the heads on it. So they are gonna be able to get back that Shaman. Gonna play Hypnotoxic Laser, so we are gonna be poison and take 3 damage counters because of that Verbank City Gym. And they have a Choice Band as well, so all sorts of damage modifiers here. Hopefully our opponent can whiff the energy. That would be pretty big. Here they're going to play Puzzle of Time. What do they have here? So unfortunately they're going to get back 2 double dragon energies. That's not what I want to see. And here I'm just going to read Latios' second attack. So it looks like it's going to do 110, which is actually a really good number to hit for. Unfortunately, against us, Trevenant only has 110 HP. And so they're going to go for a Kukui as well. So I'm trying to think how many damage counters they're actually doing at this point. 70 base damage, 100 once you factor in the poison, 120 thanks to Kukui. Ugh, so things are getting kind of sketchy actually. So our opponent is really digging through their deck here. So what, their second turn, I think? And they're at like 19 cards. This is crazy. So they're going all in on this Latios. I'm not sure, do they play the amount of resources needed to actually get a knockout? I think they've played a couple plus powers as well. And there is another one. Another scoop up. Okay, so luckily they do flip tails on the scoop up. And so fast raid for 110, so 140 after the Verbank. That's actually pretty sketchy. And we top deck a Phantom, definitely a good card to top deck here. Alright, so here we get the Trevenant online. We definitely want to get down a Rescue Star if we need to keep those things alive. But here we have Verse Seeker. Could actually maybe just go for a Team Flare. I kind of like this. So we can Flare Grunt and then just safely retreat into, actually, yeah, probably just do the Trevenant. I was going to say we could put down the D-Valley and use Ascension to get out another Trevenant, but I want to save the D-Valley for when we attack. So here, even if they do have another Double Dragon, no big deal. They're only going to hit us for 40 here. So I'm actually okay with that. And nice, we actually get Mysterious Treasure, and that's actually pretty big. We really need to make sure we get a Trevenant Break online, because if they do 110 next turn, we really want to make sure that we can survive that. Okay, so nice. We're going to get out the break here, discarding that Rescue Stretcher. I think we kind of had to. Unfortunately, we did have to discard the Stretcher, but gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And nice, we actually get an energy as well. So this turn turned out to be half decent. Now the only thing we have to worry about is like a Double Dragon energy Kukui. That could be pretty bad for us. So here I'm going to get out another... Oh wait, I just... My bad, guys. I already forgot that we didn't have any other Trevenants. But that's okay. I guess we can just grab ourselves a Phantom. I think that's fine. So that'll be okay. And we have the N ready to go next turn. So I think we're in an okay spot. As long as they don't have Double Dragon Kukui, I like the spot that we're in here. So they do have Verbank City Gym. I'm going to bump our stadium and just a fast raid. Cool, I'm fine with that as well. So hopefully we can get ourselves... we only have one Enhanced Hammer left. We could hit it. It might be a lot to ask for, but I think we're just going to attach the Mystery so we can do Tree Slam this turn. Okay, and we actually hit Super Rod, which is really nice. That way we can get back that other Trevenant that we had to discard earlier. So let's do that. We'll get back the Trevenant, the Break, and the Psychic Energy. And we actually have Mysterious Treasure, so we can go ahead and discard that Wally. It seems like a good target. Or actually, we could do the Phantom as well. I actually don't even think we'll need all 4 Phantoms for the rest of the game. So I think either of those are going to be good choices. Let's just go for the Phantom. That's fine. We have Rescue Stretcher, so we'll basically in total have 4 Phantoms to work with. And that'll at least give us the flexibility of just grabbing that Break if we need to with the Wally next turn. And here we're going to do Tree Slam, doing 60 to that active. And so if our opponent has Double Dragon Energy, that is going to be a little annoying, but I think we're going to be okay, because actually what we can do is if we get a Psychic Energy next turn, we can actually just use Energy Drive on Tapu Lele for a single Psychic Energy to knock out this Latios. And of course we're going to get that whole evolution line back into our hand as well. So yeah, we'll get down the Trevenant Break, and so yeah, let's get down the Psychic Energy. Yeah, we definitely want to do that. That way we can knock this thing out. And we could while we get out another Break, but I might opt to just refresh our hand with Cynthia here. Okay, we actually get Rescue Stretcher, which is kind of good. And more important, we have Field Blower, so getting rid of that Floatstone on Shaman is actually going to be pretty big here. So what we can do is retreat into this Tapu Lele. And we can get down the Rescue Stretcher. I think that's okay too. And here we can just energy drive and take a knockout on this Latios EX. So I think this puts us in a pretty good position to win the game now, because all they have is the Shaman. They don't have another Latios. They would need so much. They've already burned through so much of their deck at this point. So they have 3 double dragon energies in the discard pile already. So if we can just knock out one more, or just strip them of one more, we're going to be in a good spot. But here they do, poison us. Let's see, they're going to go for an Ultra Ball, discarding a computer search. That leads me to believe they have a pretty good hand if they're discarding a computer search. Okay, and they're going to play Shaman. I'm completely fine with this, because honestly, even if our opponent is able to somehow take a knockout this turn, I think we're still good, because they only have one card left in deck. So here they have the double dragon energy. Not really worried about this. We can just retreat. I don't think they're going to take a knockout this turn. Ooh, they do hit the heads on laser. That could be bad. We really need to flip heads and wake up, otherwise we're going to be in a terrible spot. And we flip tails. Well, okay, that does change things a little bit, unfortunately. And this is definitely a situation where I wish this list had a Guzma. So, like I mentioned earlier, maybe this list actually needs a Guzma, just in case of these annoying, laser flips and things like that. Just trying to think, what do we grab here? I think we go for the Phantom here, because we already have the other break in hand. Just trying to thin out. Oh, actually what we can do here, we can just play N. I actually don't even think I thought about this whenever whenever I was originally playing this game. So we can do Flagrant. I think that's honestly fine too if we choose to. Because even if they knock us out, they still have 0 cards in deck. So that's actually a bit of a misplay, because we could have just immediately won. But yeah, so that Tapu Lele is going to get knocked out, but not really a big deal, because we can just pass for the win at this point. And here you can see our opponent gives us the victory screen. So we did manage to take down the Latios Donk deck. But let's try another one and see what we can make happen here. Okay, they're going to choose who's going to go first. Should be a pretty straightforward decision. They are definitely going to want to go first. Especially if they know what we're playing, they would definitely want to go first. And here we're going to take a mulligan, unfortunately. But that's just kind of what happens sometimes when you only play 7 basics in your deck. So, okay, it looks like our opponent selected their active, and hopefully we can get a bit of a better hand this time. This would have actually been a pretty decent hand had we gone first. We would have been able to just immediately volley, but unfortunately this is actually a pretty bad hand. We don't have a whole lot to really work with. We really need to top deck something good. So your opponent's going to play an Ultra Ball. Really curious. We see an execute at the discard pile. This could actually be Zoroark, which going first as well for them would be pretty bad for us. So moment of truth, they are going to play a Bridget, so they're going to get 3 zeros. Yep, this is going to be Zoroark GX, unfortunately. But you know what? If we can manage to... Oh, I was going to say, if we can buy a turn with them stranded in the active spot, we'd be in okay shape. But here, they have the Float Stone into the Zoro. I was going to say, if they didn't have like a Float Stone or something, it would take them 2 turns to actually attach and retreat to attack. But luckily we top decked the Tapu Lele. We were going to be in terrible shape had we actually been stuck with just that hand. So, okay, what I kind of want to do here is get down the Rescue Scarf, and kind of what I'm thinking about doing is playing the Dimension Valley. I don't like playing it this early, but what I'd like to do is get another Phantom and build up a benched Phantom while this active one goes down, most likely on our opponent's next turn. Alright, so kind of, yeah, that's what's going to happen here. We were, lucky enough to get the Phantom with an energy, and now we can use Ascension to evolve this fresh Phantom into a Trevenant. Most likely it's going to get knocked out, so I really didn't want to commit any energy to it. Just taking a peek, seeing what we have in deck. We have 2 Enhanced Hammers in there and the 1 in our hand, so all of those are going to be in the deck. Definitely key cards that we're going to need. Espeon EX also, I think I saw, was in there. And here our opponent has the Skyfield to bump that Stadium right away, and they have a Chorus. So this is not looking good already, but luckily we do have this Enhanced Hammer ready to go if our opponent hits their DCE. Okay, so they're going to go for a Lele. I guess just thinning a card out of their deck. I'm sure they're going to want to dig for double colorless energy. And they have a Shaman to draw some more cards. So if they've been through half their deck at this point, I'd imagine they probably have one in hand by now. So here they're going to use Propagation. I guess they still need to dig a little bit hard. They're going to discard that Execute to draw 2 cards with that trade ability. And they do still have another Zoroark in play as well, so they do have one more trade. So let's see. Gonna discard the Execute. What do they have? If we can somehow survive... Oh, well... Okay, so cool. They actually evolved into a different Zoroark, and they whiffed the double colorless energy. That is crazy. I don't know how we were fortunate enough to survive, but we managed to pull it off. So here we're going to just play that Dimension Valley, limiting our opponent's bench size again. Now, unfortunately, we were the first ones to play down a stadium, which means we could wind up losing the stadium war here. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So here, we're going to play the Lele, and we'll probably grab ourselves a Colress. That seems like probably the best supporter we could grab here. Let's shuffle our hand to our deck, draw equal to amount of bench Pokemon that are in play. So we'll get that Mystery Energy down, and we really need to hit Trevenant Break here. We really can't afford to miss a beat. And here we actually get a Trevenant and a Mysterious Treasure, so we're actually doing pretty good. So we probably just Mysterious Treasure, get rid of the Wally. That seems like a good card to toss away at this point. Alright, so this turn we can finally start using Silent Fear, start spreading some damage. If we can just do 2 Silent Fears and then bust out Espeon EX, we can actually wipe our opponent's board of all 4 Zoruas. So let's see. I would imagine this turn we'll probably see the double colors energy finally come down. We did get a little bit lucky that turn, I think. And here we're going to see a Colress from our opponent. Going to use that Propagation ability. So we're going to trade away Execute, draw 2 cards. And they still have another trade available, and they still have another Zorua they could evolve into a Zoroark GX. So I said this last turn too, but I would imagine our opponent probably has it. They're down to 19 cards out of their 60 card deck. So, now I feel like the odds are definitely in their favor to have what they need. Here they're going to bench the Lele, so not sure what's going on there. And they're going to grab a Guzma. Okay, so probably thinking to bring up a Tapu Lele to take a knockout on that, and also break the item lock. But here what we can actually do is use that Field Blower, getting rid of both Float Stones. I think that's going to be pretty important here. We could get rid of the Sky Field, but you know what? We play Dimension Valley, so I think we're okay. So what we can do is, we've already gone through 2 Dimension Valley, that's kind of sketchy. So we can't play Computer Search actually and just get the Dimension Valley. We could do that, getting rid of probably Ultra Ball and Flare Gun. I think that's actually probably the play here. I would like to kind of get a Phantom down as well, since we have in our Psychic Energy we could burn. Or what we could do is, yeah, I think we have to go for the Computer Search here. I would like to play a Colress while our opponent still has more bench Pokemon in play, but I think it's just too important that we hit this Dimension Valley this turn. That way we can use Silent Fear. Alright, so we're going to get that down. And imagine, okay, so our opponent's actually going to get rid of the Zorua. Definitely a good call on their part, since they knew that was going to be knocked out this turn. So here we're going to play Colress, refreshing our hand to 8, which feels good. And we have Mysterious Treasure, so definitely good. I'm just trying to think now. We can, yeah, I think we get rid of the N. So we grab Phantom, and we still want to keep the Ultra Ball just in case we can use Espeon EX next turn. And we have Mystery Energy, so yeah, I think we should probably, well, yeah, we should probably, I think we should actually attach that to Phantom here. I don't think we should Silent Fear, but you know what? That's what I'm going to do. So I guess, well, it's not the end of the world, because what we can do is, even if Trevenant goes down, we can attach the Mystery Energy to the Phantom and retreat into Espeon EX and attack for free. That's kind of the line of thinking here. Okay, so our opponent finally does have the double colorless energy. It was only a matter of time. And our opponent has Getsis, so... Okay, so our Ultra Ball play has been taken away from us, unfortunately. Okay, so our opponent does get down their Sky Field as well, which is a little bit sketchy. Definitely a good turn from our opponent. Getting rid of our Stadium that I was going to be, you know, reliant on for next turn. Getting rid of that Ultra Ball that I was going to be reliant on for next turn. So our opponent's hand is gigantic at this point. It's getting a little sketchy. Luckily for us, though, we do have an N ready to go. So what do we do here? What do we do? So actually, I think what we do here is we promote the Trevenant. That way we can attach Mystery Energy. So one thing I would like to do is... Oh, Counter Catcher. That's actually a pretty good top deck. So Mystery Energy is nice to attach to this active Trevenant because even if we whiff the Dimension Valley, we can still get off and attack this turn. But ideally, we want Espeon EX this turn. And I would bench this Phantom, but that Sudowoodo still is in play, limiting our bench size to 4. So unfortunately, we can't afford to bench it here. We really need Espeon or Ultra Ball or Dimension Valley. Oh, nice. We actually hit all of it. So what we can do is just take a look. Nothing really want to play Super Odd for just yet. So what we can do is we can bench that Espeon EX. We can retreat, discarding that Psychic Energy. And now we can get down that Dimension Valley as well. And now we can use Miraculous Shine. This is a huge turn because now we can de-evolve all of our opponent's Zoroarks and clear their entire field, which is gigantic for us. So I've got to say, I think we're in a pretty good spot. You know, normally I think this deck is a little bit sketchy against Zoroark, but when you can do plays like this, that really just helps, you know, even the playing field a little bit. And we still have some Enhanced Hammers as well we have yet to use. So I think we actually have enough resources to potentially close out this game. Okay, but our opponent does have a Rescue Stretcher. So actually, if our opponent has Versus Seeker, that would actually be pretty bad. And they have Field Blower. Ugh. Okay. So that's definitely annoying, actually, because Trevenant is a little bit awkward to attack with without Dimension Valley. I was going to say, if they had Versus Seeker for Bridget, that would have been so devastating. But here they are going to Versus Seeker for Colress, just in anticipation of, you know, being item locked on the next turn. Definitely a good call. And they're going to play Computer Search, getting rid of that egg, and it looks like a Battle Compressor. So probably just going to get a Zorua. Okay, seems good. So man, our opponent is really bouncing back pretty well this turn. You know, I thought we were going to be good to go after that Counter Catcher de-evolution play, but our opponent got 2 Zoruas back in play really quickly. So what do we do here? I think we just have to retreat into the Trevenant, unfortunately. We can't attack, but I think we still have to keep it active. That way our opponent is still item locked. And here our opponent has a Colress, which is super annoying, and they had a Zoroark GX. That was their top deck. So okay, our big Espeon play got quickly well, it worked, but our opponent is managing to kind of come back from it pretty easily. Alright, so what do we do? So luckily our opponent can't play Floatstone. I think they've actually already gone through all of the Floatstone that are in their deck, if I had to guess. So this Sudowoodo is actually going to be stranded active. And nice, we top deck Versus Seeker. That's actually pretty big for us. So what we can do here is grab ourselves a Colress. Could actually grab an N, but that would only put us at 3-card hand. And we're just going to play Colress and refresh our hand. So we actually get some pretty good cards here. We can play the Mysterious Treasure, getting rid of Ultra Ball. Grab ourselves another Break. So we can do that. And just trying to think, what do we do here? We could attach to the benched Trevenant and kind of spread our energy around, but I think we actually have to attach to the active because we need to start using Silent Fear again and try to stop our opponent. So luckily the Sudowoodo does have 100 HP, so what we can actually do is just use Silent Fear 2 more times and then just de-evolve these Zoroarks yet again. So I think it's fine just to attach to this active. The only thing I'm worried about is an Acerola play. That's what I was kind of thinking about attaching to the bench, because if our opponent has Acerola, DCE, we would be in a world of trouble. But here they have Guzma, and they're taking out our other Trevenant, which we just built up to. And okay, so they do have a double colorless energy. That's fine by me. We have plenty of enhanced hammers that are still in the deck, ready to be used. So I feel pretty good about the spot we'll be in, because we can just get rid of that DCE. But at the same time, our opponent has a gigantic hand, so they probably have another DCE somewhere in there too. So here we're going to see a Riotous Beating, and I actually still feel pretty good about the spot that we're in, because we can just Silent Fear this turn, and then we can just use Miraculous Shine on the following turn. So I think what we have to do here is attach the Mystery Energy to Espeon this turn, and then I think we go for a Colress. We really need to hit, well, actually we could just go for a Flare Gun. I think that's in the discard pile as well. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind getting down another Phantom, so I think either one is fine. I think we have enough outs in the deck left at this point where we can hit the Enhanced Hammer off this Colress. And nice, we actually hit the Phantom as well, so that actually worked out pretty nicely for us. And we can play that Super Odd, getting back some evolution pieces. Definitely want to get back probably a Psychic Energy, and maybe the Trevenant and the Break. Seems okay to me. I think we still have another Phantom left in the deck anyway, so I don't think we probably need that one that's in the discard pile. So yeah, I think that's probably gonna be okay. So we'll do that, and so next turn what we can do is just Miraculous Shine yet again and just clear all of these Zoroarks off the field. And here we actually get a Rescue Star, definitely a good card to get. Wish we would have had it prior, that way we could have gotten back this this Trevenant, since I'm assuming it's going to get knocked out. Our opponent has a ludicrous hand over there, it's gigantic. And they have Acerola, oh my god, okay. We are in some trouble now, unfortunately. That's actually pretty big. So what do we do? That is the question at this point. So they have 2 cards left in deck. So we definitely promote the Espeon EX at the very least here. We definitely want to play the Enhanced Hammer. Get rid of that double colorless energy. I'm just trying to think, what do we do though? Like, we're in such a terrible spot here. How many, let's see, our opponent's only used 1 Verseeker. Oh my god. That's kind of scary. So we can, you know, take a knockout on this active Zoroark GX if we want to. But I'm just trying to think, what do we do? We attach to the Phantom, I guess? And we have some options. There's a couple plays we could go for. I mean, we don't really have much in our hand, so I definitely want to play, you know, like a proper draw supporter here. Probably just go for a Cynthia or a Colress here. I'm half tempted just to N as well, just because our opponent doesn't have any double Colress energy in play. All those cards would go back into their deck. But at the same time, we would only get 2 cards off N. So even though it would heavily disrupt our opponent, I don't know if we can even afford to do that. But this is such a tough spot. That Acerola really messed us up. So here, let's just go for the Colress. We can still hit a Trevenant this way. Alrighty, so that's fine, I guess. Just trying to think though, do we Miraculous Shine or do we just leave Trevenant in the active spot? That is going to be the question, I think. Man. So, I guess we go for a Miraculous Shine. It's like 1 trade our opponent won't have access to, I guess. Like, I have no idea if this is the right play or not, guys. I was half tempted just to leave that, just to leave Trevenant in the active spot. That would have been pretty decent as well, but Hopefully that does not come back to bite us here. One thing going for us is that this Espeon is probably safe. Our opponent's gone through a ton of resources at this point. So, okay, they do have double cover synergy, but like I said, they'll probably have to two-shot this Espeon. I think we've taken out all their Sky Fields. But they are playing Puzzle of Time, so we... Okay, so yeah, we're going to see a Sky Field. That's a little bit sketchy for us. And actually, if they take out Espeon EX, that would be pretty bad. And here they have Field Blower getting rid of our Rescue Scarf. That's okay, we have another one in hand anyways. Not stressing out too much about that. So if they are actually able to knock out this Espeon, that would be pretty bad for us. Beyond that, I think, well, depending on how our opponent does it, I think we just lose after that, depending on maybe like how many cards they have left in deck. I still think the deck out strategy is viable. Well, that does change things. They are going to Karen. Okay, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe we're not going to see a deck out strategy this time. So yeah, I'm starting to regret using Miraculous Shine that turn. I mean, granted, the Trevenant would have been knocked out, but you know, nevertheless, I think I'm starting to think that was actually the correct play here. So we're going to see a Puzzle of Time. Is it a double puzzle? That would also be pretty good. Oh, so yeah, it is going to be a double puzzle. Going to grab a Computer Search and a Choice Band. All right. Getting rid of 2 Versus Seekers. Okay, I am completely okay with that. I don't know what's in our opponent's hand. It must be something extremely crucial if they're getting Reverse Seekers, because that's actually one way I think they can still win this game, is just by just Guzmaing up something to take like their final knockout. So they're going to play the Versus Seeker. Let's see what they're going to go for. I forget if our opponent has traded yet. That is also something we need to keep in mind here. They're going to go for the end. Definitely seems pretty good. Most of their deck is stuff that can draw them cards. Oh, interesting. They're going to discard Zoroark GX. Okay, well, I guess that's fine because they can just do the Riot Beam. And they actually don't play the end, which is interesting. Maybe they're just hanging onto it for themselves. That way they can prevent the deck out strategy. If that's the case, I think we lose. I definitely think we made the wrong play now. Getting rid of that, or leaving that SP on the active spot. So here what we're going to do is just play Cynthia. Let's see what we can manage to get. Yeah, all our opponent needs is double color synergy, and they can just win now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because, yeah, Tapu Lele has the same amount of HP as Espeon, so I'm pretty sure. Oh, but we get hit with the victory screen? I have no idea what happened there, but I am completely down to take that. Maybe, because you know what I think it was? They had 3 double color synergies in the discard pile. If they had their last one prize, that actually would have been pretty big. They had gone through all 4 puzzles at a time, so maybe Enhanced Hammer just won us the game. I don't know, but hey, I am down to take the win there. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this look at Trevenant BREAK, updated with some new stuff from Forbidden Light. But as usual, feel free to like and subscribe, and if you can support this channel by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/rarecandytcg, or by picking up something from our online store at rarecandytcg.com, it would mean a lot. But with that, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you for the next one.